Welcome back. I'm Neil Cavuto, coming from the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex in Florida. President John Kennedy set the goal to land a man on the moon before the decade of the 60s ended. Under President Lyndon Johnson, Americans caught up with the Soviets in the space race and then passed them outright when Apollo 8 orbited the moon. But no man had yet set foot on the lunar surface. And when President Richard Nixon assumed office, the old Cold Warrior wasn't about to see the Soviets get there first. The next leg of the space race was a series of sprints.
We launched a Saturn V essentially every 2 months. Really a remarkable achievement.
Each mission got the astronauts a little closer to their ultimate goal. Apollo 9, launching March 3, 1969, with James McDivitt, David Scott, and Russell Schweiker, was the first to test the lunar module in space. Apollo 10, launching May 18, 1969, with Thomas Stafford, John Young, and Gene Cernan, flew within 50,000 feet of the lunar surface. That would be a dress rehearsal for the lunar landing, Apollo 11, commanded by Neil Armstrong.
What will your plans be in the extremely unlikely event that the lunar module does not come up off the lunar surface?
Well, that's an unpleasant thing to think about. We've chosen not to think about that up to the present time.
The other two crew members were command module pilot Michael Collins and Edwin Buzz Aldrin, who would walk on the moon with Armstrong. There's a lot of gossip back and forth, Buzz, about how it ended up Neil Armstrong was the first man. There was talk that you were supposed to be, right?
There was an uncertainty. Every EVA was always done by the junior person. The senior person has responsibility for much more requirements. It would seem to me that the outside activities should be the job of the junior person.
But who was that supposed to be? Was it going to be you? Was it going to be Armstrong?
You know, there's a lot of discussion about the commander leading his troops somewhere, and the commander is a symbolic person. Neil was closer to the door, but I won't tell you which decision really.
It is weird, right? I mean,
no, it's not weird.
Yeah.
I went home and told Joan, my wife, frankly, I'd just as soon be on a later mission where I wouldn't have to put up with all the celebrity speech making and all this for the rest of my life.
July 16th, 1969, showtime.
You think about the countdown as the curtain opening. Worry is a wasted emotion. It clouds clear thinking that is absolutely needed when something goes wrong.
The launch, another dazzling pillar of fire, was flawless. The 3-day, 240,000-mile trip from the Earth to the moon without incident.
We are very comfortable up here, though. We do have a happy home. There's plenty of room for the three of us.
Then, 4 days into the mission, came time to do what no astronaut had done before: decouple the lunar module named Eagle from the command module and guide it safely to the moon. On their way down, Armstrong and Aldrin realized they were going long, beyond the landing zone, and into a boulder field. That's when Armstrong took over, diverting from the planned computer path. He was now flying above unfamiliar territory, searching for a safe spot to land while running low on fuel.
So we're on the far side of what was undesirable, and I'm reading the altitude, and it's about 100 feet.
60 seconds. 60 seconds.
Okay, 100 feet still a ways off the ground, and we got 60 seconds. I'm getting a little concerned.
So it got very tense in mission control. We're biting our nails and holding our breath because we're running out of gas. Then I called Eagle 30 seconds. 13 seconds later, according to my little stopwatch, I heard contact, engine stop. After a little pause, Neil very calmly said,
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
And then I responded with that.
You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
The lunar module landed on July 20th, 4:18 p.m. Eastern Time. 6 hours and 37 minutes later, Neil Armstrong took humanity's first step on the moon. What he said might be the most famous words of the 20th century or any century.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Mike and I asked him, Mike says, you thought about what you're going to say when you get down on the moon? Well, I don't know yet. When we land, I'll start thinking about it. I never know whether to take him seriously or not.
Armstrong and Aldrin only spent 2 hours and 31 minutes out on the lunar surface, but it was enough time to bounce around, set up scientific experiments, collect moon rocks, and take several enduringly famous photos. Aldrin with the American flag, a footprint on the moon, and probably the most iconic of all.
I was just walking, and then he said, stop, hold it. And I stopped, looked at him, and he took the picture. People have asked me, what's the significance of this picture? And I say, I got 3 words. Location, location, location.
As, I guess, a 10-year-old kid, I'm looking at you looking at this vast, desolate place. What was it like?
Well, you used the same word I did, but I prefaced desolate with magnificent because of humanity's reaching outward and accomplishing something that people thought was impossible.
Apollo 11 made it to the moon just 6 months ahead of the deadline JFK had set at the beginning of the decade. It was left to another president to congratulate the astronauts.
For one priceless moment in the whole history of man, all the people on this earth are truly one.
President Nixon had planned 2 different speeches, one if you succeeded, as you did, and one if you didn't. Fate has ordained that the men who went to the moon to explore in peace will stay on the moon to rest in peace. These brave men, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, know that there is no hope of their recovery, but they also know there is hope for mankind in their sacrifice. That would have been if you never made it. They were very worried about how they'd get you back from the moon, right?
Well, it was pioneering. It was doing something that hadn't anywhere been done before.
Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins splashed down in the Pacific on July 24th, 1969. The space race was over. The stars and stripes are still there. Coming up, in the 1960s, there was a hit TV show, Lost in Space, and a movie, Marooned. As long as humans have dreamed of exploring the heavens, they have shuddered at the possibility of never getting back. For the astronauts of Apollo 13, that nightmare almost came true. After this.